Hey guys, it's Rafael. It's Coach Rafael with Unmatched Performance. I wanted to take this time to sit down with Coach Rudy. We brought him in to be our voice as far as our pitchers go. We want to have one unified vision for all of our pitchers across the organization and make sure we have somebody here that's putting the right things in place. And I trust what he's doing, but I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to see things from his perspective, kind of what he's been through, what he looks forward to doing here with Unmatched, and kind of what sets us apart and why he decided to call us home. Well, Coach Rudy, I know we met probably about 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago. I think it was in between games. He was coaching a team at the time, and I got a chance to meet him then. And just so happened, God put us back on the same path, and here he is working on Unmatched Performance. Give us a little bit about your background, professionally, college-wise, kind of where you come from.
Well, to start off, I went to South Rowan High School. Then from there, got a look at Surrey Community College, went on to play JUCO for 2 years. And then from there, kind of come down to the wire with grades and things. Just kind of as I was growing as a young man, understanding what it took, hard work, dedication to get to the next level. Actually got a scholarship to UNCP.
UNCP was that?
UNC, University of North Carolina at Pembroke.
Okay.
Division II school, Peach Belt Conference. Went on to play there for 2 more years and come down to the wire again, not because of grades this time. I'd figured it out at that time what hard work means, dedication, and about how grades matter to get to the next level. And I didn't start throwing hard till my senior year. Figured out my backside and my legs, which is something that I emphasize very big on to the kids here. To everybody that I teach is the backside, because that's where you get the power of pitching. And from there, I jumped from 84, 85 to 88 to 90, 91 sometimes. And therefore, from there, I got a chance to go play in the Mink League, which was in Kansas City. And my first outing, I hit 93, 94. That immediately got some teams interested. And I had the Nationals, Kansas City, and I believe the Phillies that were interested at that time, and I prayed about some things, and Kansas City called me at the last moment, and since I was in Kansas City, that wasn't the reason why I signed, but
Right.
it was just on my heart to sign with them if they called. They called, I got to go to the big league stadium, sign my contract, which was pretty cool, and everything, and so that's how my career jump started in the minors. I went in, played my first year in Phoenix, Arizona, and then had a really good year. From that year I advanced, got moved up to Burlington Royals,
Right.
which is in Burlington, North Carolina.
Right.
Played a year there, had another great year, and then come back and got moved up to Single A, where I played in Chicago, Illinois for the Kane County Cougars. Had another great year there. I was the only lefty out of the bullpen. And come back my next spring training. Had a great spring training, had a great year in the best shape of my life. And at the end of that spring training is when I got let go, and which is when my career ended. Again, I'd prayed for some direction and some things. When it was taken away from me, I knew that it was over. There was no need to keep chasing it. I had no regrets,
Right.
and I was fine inside with moving on with my life, which brings me to what I've been doing since ball's been taken away, which is giving back everything I've been learned, trying to share the things that I've been blessed to learn, and try to give it to young kids and young adults in today, so hopefully they grab something and it can set them apart from what's being taught today, because there's a lot out there that is being taught, but it's not the right way of how to play the game. And in meeting you and understanding your knowledge and understanding what you bring to the table, I believe that's where we bonded together. And I believe what we got going here is coming together, and is really going to be a lot of help for this organization. And just like I said, if just a few people grab it, I believe that this thing can keep getting better and better and better as far as the development of young kids.
Absolutely. And that kind of ties into my next question. In talking to me and us meeting, I know even with my personal experience playing college baseball and then playing some indie ball after that on a professional level, I never saw myself coming back.
Yeah.
Coaching youth league or even in high school. The lowest level I wanted to go to was college, but my experience, I had a chance to coach some youth guys, and I felt like everybody listened. And when everybody listens, you can give that type of identity to a team. You can see success across the board. Why coach youth baseball?
Why coach
For you, yeah, why coach youth baseball?
I coach youth baseball just for the simple fact of what I told you. I've been around baseball a lot in my life and heard a lot of good instruction at a higher level. But it seems at the most crucial stage of youth baseball is when they are developing. There's a lot of kids that are getting false information, that are learning bad things the wrong ways, which are developing them, hurting them later in life, versus getting good fundamental old school baseball techniques, which, you know, it worked back then, it still works today, and there's no reason to get outside that circle. I'm old school, I know you're old school, and it's good old fundamentals and techniques of baseball. So why coach youth baseball? Because I know of how youth baseball is being coached today, and it makes me want to have the right impact on these kids, not the wrong impact, or just be talking just to talk because of something I read or something I'm just going with because it sounds good. I make that statement all the time. You're not going to hear me talk about nothing that I don't know is correct.
Right.
And if I don't, you know, I'm glad that I'm man enough to be able to back off and say, well, I know enough people to find the right answer, not just keep going with it, because the way a young kid does develop is important to me, and it's definitely important in an environment as such.
Let me give you two more questions to get out, and then we're gonna get out of here. I feel like, because a guy with your knowledge, I feel extremely blessed to have you here. I think our families are. I think our players are extremely blessed to have you here. And clearly, with your background and your experience, you have options. You have options. Why select Unmatched Performance when I offered you that opportunity? Why here?
I select Unmatched Performance for the simple reason of I knew when I talked to you, I wasn't talking just to another money hustler or another just baseball that's trying to build numbers. Or I knew, you know, right off the gate you were willing to slow and take this slow for it to develop the right way to have quality kids come in here. And when I connected with you because, you know, a big part of it was your emotion, your love for the game, still today, even though we both don't play. To still have that drive to want to give back to the community and kids or anybody that walks through the doors of the facility. That's what made me take this job, is because I knew I wasn't getting involved with someone who was just blowing smoke. I knew that, you know, you meant business and this really meant something to you, and I could, you know, I had that vibe with you in that area of baseball and competitiveness, and that's what immediately drew back and immediately even fired it up for me to, you know, this whole thing of teaching lessons, giving back is not over for me yet. And so it allowed and opened up a great opportunity, you know, for me to be able to help and at the same time, you know, build a family and build a close relationship with everybody that comes in here, just not to be in here and walk out. I mean, you know, it's a joy to come to work every evening, doing something that's been my whole life. So.
Right. And the last piece, and we're just gonna give them a little taste of it, just a little taste. When you teach guys at the youth level, and I mean this all the way through high school, what's the number one problem that you see with most pitchers?
Well, the number one most problem that I see with pitchers is the lack of using the backside. That's what made the difference for me in my career. It's what changed my whole career. It's using the backside, not being in shape, and the fact of just plain out not throwing strikes, not being consistent in the strike zone. The problem is I talk to high schoolers, I talk to even college guys sometimes, and it's amazing what they're not learning. It's amazing what they're not getting. That's the most problem, you know, is throwing strikes. Throwing strikes and the lack of backside, because you're in a high school game, we're looking at a senior, he's trying to go somewhere, he throws 70 miles an hour. It's not the lack of him being good enough, it's the lack of him never being taught to get where he needs to be, or to be pushed to get where he needs to be. I think that's the biggest problem, is just the lack of teaching the backside and just throwing strikes.
Okay, so I told a story. This is going to be my last question. What role can parents play in helping us get these kids where they need to be? And from your perspective.
Parents in helping your kid is understanding that this is not rec ball. This is travel baseball. Good fundamental baseball players play travel baseball. And in order for your child to get better, and for this organization to get better, and for us to help, you have to stay consistent. You have to make a sacrifice to stay in here working once a month, once a year, twice a year. That doesn't cut it. You have to dedicate yourself to this and what this is about, and say, hey, this is the part of my life here,
right.
and you have to stay consistent in that. So that's what helps. And the main thing is, especially for these younger guys, and playing travel baseball, I would think it's spending that kind of money to play this kind of game, to have this kind of advantage, that your kid loves the game so much that you couldn't take the game away from them or scare them away from it. They should have no option in doing what they get from their instructors. It should be this is what you're doing, and if I'm going to meet you with your desire to want to play at this level, then you're going to meet me back the same way with showing me you're going to work on what we're coming in here to work at. I think that's the biggest help from parents is just staying consistent, being consistent, being hard on them to a certain point on this is the way it's going to be, or else pushing dedication. So I think that helps us tremendously, because when a kid comes through the door, does a hitting lesson or a pitching lesson with me, it makes all the difference when they step in the cage and they've done what they need to do and they're prepared. Man, they get the full emotion out of me. I'm going to give you information and help your kid regardless, but if we're not working week to week to week, you get information from me, but you don't get that emotional. Right. You don't get that emotional connection that I have with the game.
Because you want them to succeed so bad.
Exactly.
You can tell how bad they want.
Exactly.
I agree 100%. Well, I'm glad to have you here, man. And
I'm glad to be here.
I'm sure the parents are pretty pumped about having you too. So, implementing that pitching piece into what we're doing, and that's the immediate feedback we can get. We can turn that over quickly to develop some success as an organization. I'm really blessed. I feel like the parents are really blessed to have you here too.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.